Hello, this is the Radio Geek, and today for you I have something very interesting. This is a service data manual from a Heathkit oscilloscope, but this manual was actually intended for the service technician at the stores, or where you would send your oscilloscope to be repaired. This was never meant to be distributed to the public. So this is actually one of the blue book manuals that Ed in my Heathkit manual or Heathkit interviews was talking about. Some of the manuals that he worked on were the blue book manuals, which were intended for the service departments. So I thought it'd be kind of neat to just kind of look through it. I don't know how well the camera is going to be picking up any of this stuff, but I see that this one was copyrighted in 1979 by the Heath Company, so that was just prior to Zenith buying them. I think they got bought out by Zenith in 1980, so it's just prior to that. But this thing, if you think the Heathkit manuals are amazing, this thing is 10 times more amazing. It has everything you ever think you would need to know about this particular oscilloscope is in here. It's got an introduction. It has the specifications, of course, and this manual is kind of falling apart at the where it's glued at the binder here. So, but anyway, it's see if I can flip it around here. It's kind of hard to do with one-handed here, but anyway, it does have an operation that tells you how the instrument is supposed to operate. They even have a drawing of the actual front of the oscilloscope with all the buttons and knobs and everything. And you know, this was back in the day when you know, there wasn't you know, computer CAD type stuff. You know, somebody had to draw all these little pictorials that are in the Heathkit assembly manuals and this particular service manual. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see if we can just kind of thumb through it here and find different sections here. I know they have circuit descriptions and calibration descriptions. They have disassembly, where they show you how everything comes apart. I love these drawings. They're just amazing. Every little detail of this oscilloscope is in this manual. And I'll just kind of flip through it and kind of just get a general flavor for what's in this thing. It's pretty amazing, really. I mean, look at the detail on these drawings. It's just phenomenal. And anybody that's ever put a Heathkit together knows their attention to detail. But just looking through this this manual is just mind blowing. What's in here. They even have each of the circuit boards actually, with all the everything, just like it's on the silk screen of the board number and all the reference designators for the different boards that are in here. This particular one here is the vertical deflection board, and it's that, and then it's got all the bill material for that particular board. And this one, we have your horizontal, and it's got all the locations for everything, and then it has all the parts here as well that are listed on there, and it has you know, the component location number U703, and then it's, you know, generic part, you know, and then the Heathkit part number for everything in here. And it has that for each board. And then there's even an alignment section where it tells you how to align different parts of this particular oscilloscope. Just amazing the amount of detail that went into this, and I imagine that perhaps Ed may have even worked on this one. I don't know. Yeah, just plenty of drawings and schematics, and just all kinds of detail. And what I found here too, if I can find it here again, let me just kind of flip through here. Yeah, it has this semiconductor identification and part numbers. It tells you everything about the part number and what it is and what it looks like. But not only that, every IC, transistor, they have the pinouts for every one of them. And for the integrated circuits, they have the somewhat of a data sheet for each part that's in here. So, you know, they have this one here. It's a 443-16 is the Heath number, and it's SN7476N. You know, your JK master slave flip flop, and then they have, you know, the pinout for the part in the internal drawing, and that's for everything that's in this scope. And then they have just all kinds of information. They have different currents, and they have you know, like I say, the data sheets for these parts are actually in the book. These are data sheets, and I don't know if they say whose data sheet they are on these data sheets, but they are, you know, the actual data sheet for the parts. Just incredible the amount of work that would go into something like this. And I had heard, you know, Ed talk about this when I was interviewing him, and I thought, well, I have some Heath manuals, and I thought one of them in my stack was blue, and I checked it out, and it was one of those service manuals that he was referring to. So that was pretty cool. And then they have all the control knobs and switches and parts list for that you know, the service technician could get his hands on to repair something. And here in the back, sorry for the jerky camera here, but it's hard to do one-handed and flip the pages. But they actually have the circuit boards, and they show it from, you know, both sides, you know, from the front and the back. We got this one, and that's the flip side. They got the blanking circuit board over here, X-ray view basically. You know, it shows you all the traces and where the components went, just like the board. So you could, you know, if something was obstructing your view, or you wanted to see where something went, if there was a trace that was blown or something, you could follow along with what the board was supposed to look like. Just amazing the amount of detail that went into something like this. And this is just, you know, one product. I can't imagine all the products and all the time it would take to do that. You know, it's kind of falling apart there. And I'll show you some of the schematics that came out in a fold-out too in just 1 second. Okay, these are some of the schematics that came with it too, and there were several pages. Some are in better condition than others. I don't know that you'd really be able to read any of this, but you get the idea. It's kind of neat here, like this schematic here, it came in 2 pages, and it was just folded once like this, and then the other half is over here, and it was folded just once. And there's a little bit of duplication So it's not as if it butts right up against the other one, but for instance, this is the same thing. So you would have to kind of move it over here and line it up here to make a merge. But what was good about that is you could be looking at this one where something went, and then you'd get the other page and you could see where you were coming from and where you were going, so you didn't necessarily have to butt them up together like that. So that was a very good idea to do it that way for sure. But like I say, there's quite a few of these pages. I think there's about nine total pages of different schematics for different sections of this oscilloscope. Very, very detailed. I just kind of a loss for what to say any more about it, just because it's so spectacular and just super. And I didn't even realize I had this thing until I went looking. So kind of cool. Anyway, I just thought you guys might like to see one of these rare Blue Book service manuals from the Heath Company. The ones that Ed I interviewed in the Heathkit interviews. You can look that video up and hear him talk about them. So until next time, this is the Radio Geek.